Hi everybody, my name is Holly, and the reason why me and my daughter, who is 10 years old in 5th grade, Lyrical Jazzy, decided to make this video is because we were sitting around having a conversation, and she was talking about how kids in school were coming to school with very expensive items and how they thought coming to school with certain items made them feel cool and they thought they were cool. And I was telling her the idiocracy of all that, because that really doesn't make them cool. It actually is a stupid move to make because it could be stolen, go missing, and that's just really dumb. And if that's what they have to do to gain a cool status, well, then they really weren't cool to begin with, right? It's all in the eye of the beholder. And what it boils down to is what you think about yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so what were you a quick little story, what were you telling me about a girl in your class that bought something expensive? You want to tell them?
So a girl in my class, we'll just call her R, and she brought this expensive collectible plushie. And she was talking with this girl, we'll call her A, and it went missing. Her collectible plushie went missing, and everyone suspected A of it because A, she would always want to play with her plushie and, I wouldn't say, take it, but she would, grab it, take it to her side of the table, and, play with it.
And so because of that, everyone suspected A of taking it, but realistically, R should have never brought that collectible to school, right? That was just kind of a dumb move on her part, but she brought it to show off to everybody because she thought it was cool thing to do, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so we got on the topic then of the Stanley Cup, and I was telling her, yeah, I mean, it might be cool. I don't know. We have cups already. So why spend $50 plus on a cup? To me, I just couldn't put $50 down on a cup, as cute as some of them are. And then she said, well, good thing you didn't, Mom. And mind you, I had no idea about this, which I should have. But my daughter brought this to my attention, and she said, did you hear about the Stanley Cups having lead in them? And I said, well, honey, where did you get this from? You can't just, you can't just bring me something and have nothing behind it. Just don't tell me something and not have something behind it. Was there research that you did behind this? And she said,
Yes.
And then what did you tell me?
I told you about this news network called Wired, and I read it to you, and you're like, whoa, I didn't know that they had lead inside of the Stanley Cups.
Right, I didn't know that the process and the soldering used lead to make the Stanley Cups. And also, I was surprised, but I shouldn't have been surprised, that she even researched that, because that getting a Stanley wasn't even in my mind, because I couldn't justify throwing down $50 on a cup, man. Really, I was like, we got plenty of cups, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't pull the trigger, as they like to say, but with her doing her research, she said, let's tell others so they can know. Because if you didn't know, Mom, maybe others don't know. And I said, okay, well, this is your baby. Roll with it. So this is what she did. So this is a video made by Lyrical Jazzy. And we will take the article that she read to me and we'll have it read to you. If you want to see the article, it is linked in the description box below. They get all the credit, obviously. It didn't come from Lyrical Jazzy. She did the research and found it. And actually tell them what brought this to your attention.
Well, it was this meme of this girl joking about the lead in her system because of the Stanley Cups. And she jokingly tipped over in the car.
Acting like she was right?
Yeah.
Because of all the lead exposure. Yeah, and so this led lyrical Jassy down a rabbit hole, which is good. She needs to do her research, and actually she is in a school that is a project-based school that they do their own research. They look into things, and so she's familiar with researching things, and when she puts her mind to it, she just goes. And so I told her, you can't just tell me something. I need more. I need more. You can't just tell me something without anything behind it. So when she brought this article to me, these journalists that actually researched it, I was like, I didn't even hear about that. So that's why I now will have it read to you.
Stanley, maker of reusable water bottles and cups, seems to be in hot water. Just a few weeks ago, people were lining up to buy the giant collectible Stanley cups. But since then, there's been a U-turn. Videos of Stanley Cup owners testing theirs for lead with at-home kits raised alarms this week. Some of those tests allegedly returned positive results, though not all, and such kits can be reliable. But Stanley responded with a statement saying, "It uses some lead in the manufacturing process. Our manufacturing process currently employs the use of an industry-standard pellet to seal the vacuum insulation at the base of our products. The sealing material includes some lead, once sealed. This area is covered with a durable stainless steel layer, making it inaccessible to consumers. Rest assured that no lead is present on the surface of any Stanley product that comes into contact with the consumer nor the contents of the product. In the rare occurrence the base cap of a product comes off due to ordinary use and exposes this seal, it is eligible for our lifetime warranty." Just how common is this industry standard? We spoke with several popular reusable bottle companies and outside experts to see how prevalent the practice is to get more answers. Why is lead used in water bottles? Stanley uses the same manufacturing process for all its vacuum-sealed bottles, including the popular Stanley Quencher tumbler. Vacuum-sealed vessels usually have two layers, which is why they're occasionally called double-walled insulated bottles. In between those two layers is dead space designed to minimize heat or cold transfer from the inner layer to the outer layer. This is what helps to keep your drink hot or cold for a long time. You can see the pellet that Stanley refers to at the bottom of your drink container. It seals those layers together where they all meet at the bottom of the bottle in a process called lead soldering. Technically, the vessel does contain lead, but it's enclosed with stainless steel and should never come in contact with your drink or skin. However, should you drop the water bottle, or if it otherwise gets damaged, and this piece of steel comes loose, there's a chance the lead can be exposed to your skin. Lead is a naturally occurring toxic metal. The World Health Organization, who cites that there is no safe level of lead exposure. Once lead enters the body, it is distributed to organs such as the brain, kidneys, liver, and bones. High levels of lead exposure can be fatal, with lower levels of exposure, which can happen with a microscopic amount. Lead poisoning in adults can cause nerve disorders, decreased kidney function, and fertility issues. In children, it can cause developmental delays and seizures. The WHO says children are particularly vulnerable to lead poisoning because they absorb 4 to 5 times as much ingested lead as adults. Lead is ubiquitous in the environment, so low levels of daily exposure are a fact of life, says Jane Houlihan, National Director of Science and Health at Healthy Babies Bright Futures. Exposures and risks add up day to day from lead in food, water, house dust, and soil. This makes it all the more important for companies to keep lead out of consumer products. Children don't need another potential source of lead in their lives. What do other brands use? Lead soldering is low cost and easy to use and is a common practice from a variety of manufacturers. However, alternative methods are available. Several of the reusable water bottle companies we reached out to do not use lead in their manufacturing process. Here's the list. Odanah, which makes popular bottles like the Free Sip and a Stanley Dupe tumbler, says it has never used lead in its manufacturing process. The production of vacuum-sealed containers using lead-free solder is more costly and complicated. However, we made a commitment from day one with Odanah to use lead-free solder on our bottles, an Odanah spokesperson says. Hydro Flask, another internet-famous water bottle company, stopped using lead solder more than 10 years ago by mid-2013. The lead was out of the Hydro Flask production process because the brand designed a proprietary sealant, Temp Shield, a Hydro Flask spokesperson says. Clean Canteen also forgoes lead, instead using a non-crystalline silica bead to create its vacuum-insulated bottles. The process, using silica instead of lead, is the same except higher heat is required to melt the silica, says Rich Hever, the company's director of global operations. While some forms of silica can be dangerous if very fine particles are inhaled, sand is made from crystalline silica, so even finer than that. This doesn't apply to non-crystalline silica glass. Silica in its non-crystalline form does not have the same respiratory health properties as crystalline silica, says Marty Cohen, a teaching professor in the Department of Environmental and Occupational Health Sciences at the University of Washington. Mir is the only other company, of the ones we contacted, that confirmed its use of lead in its manufacturing process with some of its products. According to its website, this pellet does contain lead for manufacturing efficiency, waste reduction, and to ensure a complete seal. For these reasons, and because there is zero lead exposure, Mir utilizes this process with confidence. The following companies did not respond to our requests for comment: Yeti, Sewell, Hydrogic, Green Steel, and LifeStraw. SICK responded but has not given us an answer yet. We'll update this story when they do. Even if the cup or bottle is never damaged, and you're never exposed to lead if it's used in the manufacturing process, workers are still around the material in some way. The Solder Training Institute EPTAC says on its website that the amount of lead on solders is likely not going to cause severe health problems, but there's still a risk for workers exposed to lead during the process. When lead is used in manufacturing, there is a risk of lead exposure for consumers of those products, especially for products intended for use in food consumption, like drinkware, says a representative for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. There is also a potential occupational safety risk for workers, and, without proper safeguards, could be a risk for workers' families through take-home lead exposures. If your Stanley bottle or cup gets damaged, you can ask for a replacement under Stanley's lifetime warranty. We asked Stanley if customers could return undamaged cups, or if the company plans to change its manufacturing process, but it only pointed us to the same information page about its use of lead.
So what did you think about the article when you came across it?
I didn't know that there's this much evidence backing up the claims that Stanley puts basically just lead in their cups to seal it.
Yeah, that really was crazy to hear. And that also to learn that there is actual ways to seal a cup that won't harm you, that are non-toxic, and why they don't use those methods, not quite sure, but we just wanted to put this information out there. We have other fellow creators that have Stanleys, and we just love everybody. We just want everybody to have this information, and whether you believe it or not is truly up to you. You know what I wonder? I wonder if Temu, because they have Stanley dupes. They're not actual Stanleys, but they're dupes of Stanleys. And so I wonder if anyone's tested those. That would be very interesting. Maybe we should get one and test it just to check it out. That's a thought. I wonder. Okay, well, I hope you guys found this information informative. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for bringing this information to me, honey.
No problem.
Love you.
Love you too.
Okay, love you. Mean it.
Bye.